Hey there, YouTube. I'm Jack, and this is Raw Tropical Living. Thanks for joining me today. Hope everybody had a lovely weekend out there. It was pretty much a perfect weekend here in South Alabama. 80 degrees both days, low humidity, lots of sunshine, and I spent a lot of time outside in the park. And it's just this time of year, it's hard to stay inside. I just need to be outside as much as possible. Anyhow, I want to start the week off by sharing an outline to start a raw food diet, and this is my best basic advice. Guys, if you're not already subscribed to the channel, please go down and subscribe. Please like the video. Please share with your friends, and come back and check out some more of my content. This is just something that kind of popped up this weekend. I was taking a little break. I've kind of gotten back to the book I'm working on. I was taking a little break, just kind of condensing everything I think that I know or that's helped me doing this raw food diet for the last 9 years. And if it was just a quick thing, if I only had if somebody was never going to see me again and I just gave them a quick start to this, a nice outline that they could follow and take this information and know how to learn more about this lifestyle and kind of just basically send them in the right direction, because so many people, in my opinion, and everything's in my opinion because it's my channel, so of course it's going to be in my opinion, but in my opinion, so many people get started off on the wrong foot. And you're going to notice when I start talking about some of this and some of the sources and whatever that I have not listed. I'm not mentioning any of the cult leaders, the YouTube people that so many people rattle on and on to me about sometime. I'm just not interested. I'm interested in people that have a little bit of science behind them, because I don't. So anyhow, let's just jump in and get started. Okay, there's a couple. First of all, I've got a reading list for you. Okay, if you're not going to read most of these, if you will search the name of the book or the name of the author, you can find a YouTube video that kind of correlates with it, that'll include a lot of the information. But there's nothing like reading. Nobody reads anymore. Read a damn book. So what I've got down here is China study. The only reason is and this was just my personal experience. When I read the China study, that kind of stuff on a plant-based diet and how it relates to disease, it was just kind of a big picture book that opened my eyes, and it kind of gave me, it really slapped me in the face. It really made me think, wow. Let's put it like this. It was enough that the first time I watched a video and heard about the China study and saw all this stuff, I was immediately, there was no oh, well, I'm craving a little bit of chicken, or, oh, I'm addicted to cheese. I'm like, no, I know what cheese does to my body. I know what chicken does to my body. I know what milk does. I know what all this stuff does to my body. T. Colin Campbell ran a bunch of experiments. Anyhow, read the book or look at this online, but I highly recommend reading the book. How Not to Die by Dr. Michael Greger. Fantastic book. Nothing to do with raw. If you've ever watched my videos before, like I say, I like to recommend a lot of sources that have really good information, even if they're not focused or talking about raw. And there's just so many ways to take that information and apply it to raw. How Not to Die, I've watched the video. Now that book I've never read. I've read the China study. I've read Whole, which is also by T. Colin Campbell. Never have read How Not to Die, but I've watched, I've searched that on YouTube and watched multiple videos of him giving the talk based on that book. Phenomenal. Fiber Fueled, I'm really high on that lately, and that's something I wish I'd have gotten my hands on, and just the mentality of back in the beginning. It's all about our gut microbiome, and it gets you kind of going, understanding why we need more diversity in the plants and the fruits that we're eating. That's Dr. B, I'll call him. I think his last name might be Polish or whatever. It's Bulsiewicz, but Dr. B. And then the last author, and like I say, I would say at some point read all of them. I've only got 5 books on here, but Start with the China study, know why you're doing this. Fiber fueled, how not to die is great. And then there's another name, some of you old timers that have been on here for a while will recognize, Brenda Davis. She has 2 books, Becoming Vegan, Becoming Raw. Have both of them on my what do you call that? On my Kindle. Just kind of as a reference, I can go through there. They're laid out in a really good way. Now they're kind of dry reading. That's probably not the kind of book that you're going to just sit down and read cover to cover, but you can use it as a reference book. You can go in and check things in there. What does she have to say about that, this and that? Because she's got a very good index. She's phenomenal. Some of her information I consider some of the most solid scientific, reasonable information out there. Now, those are resources. Like I say, you cannot take all your information from YouTubers. That's a recipe for disaster. That's one of the worst things. Now, you might be asking yourself, aren't I contradicting myself? I just said some of these people have videos about this. Yeah, but they just made videos. They've done other stuff. China Study, it's a book. He's done studies. He's not just some guy like me. Like I've said before, I would be very concerned if I was your only resource. If you didn't take some of these people that are experts in different things and go check them out. You do not need to be watching some YouTuber like me or any of the other people with like very little credentials and making that your number one source, first of all. All right, now let's break down the diet just a little bit on the getting started there. Aside from the reading material, fruit is the base. Just figure that out. Make the fruit your base. I'm not saying you got to be a fruitarian, you got to eat all fruit. Eat a lot of fruit. Eat what's local in your area. Eat what's available seasonally at best. Don't beat yourself up if food's coming from somewhere else. We're not all living in a place where we have access to the most spectacular stuff all around us. And I'll address organic there too. It's like sometimes people, I'll get asked, well, what are your thoughts on organic? Like I'm going to have some radical thoughts on organic. I love organic. If I can, always buy, if you can, price-wise, and it's available in your area, always buy organic. But I'm not going to stress over that. I don't get much organic in this area right now. I'm not going to stop eating fruits and vegetables. That's just me. But just fruit. Make that fruit a base, bananas. We're getting into summer. Watermelon, mangoes, papayas, whatever, wherever you got, make that fruit a base. One thing that it took me a little while to catch on to, get in on the greens in the beginning. Do some research there. Do some research. Don't just listen to me. Google, research, search in Google and YouTube and wherever you can. Greens on a raw food diet. Why are greens important on a vegan lifestyle? Why are greens important on a raw vegan lifestyle? And I think even in Fiber Fueled, he'll get into the greens a bit and different things like that too. But the fruit is the base. The greens are healing. The greens are very healing to the body. That's where we get our minerals from. That's where we get vitamins. That's where we just get so much from. And I'm not talking about just getting a little handful every day. I try to cram as much greens into my day as possible. I have my salads, I have my green smoothies where I cram that kale in until I can't cram anymore. Sprouts. I talk about sprouts a lot because I believe there's a lot of value, and I really believe that we do need legumes in some form or another. If you're not going to eat cooked legumes, I eat cooked from time to time. I don't eat that much, but since I do the sprouts on a regular basis, I always have lentil sprouts. I might time it wrong and miss a day or two, but in general, I've always got lentil sprouts around the house. The legumes, the lentil sprouts in particular, go. I don't have a right off the top of my head. I can't think of a title, but just go search lentil sprouts on my channel, and you'll see. I think I've done a couple of videos on the nutrition of that. So the fruit, the green, the sprouts. Keep the fat. People freak out, especially in the beginning. I'm more of a Buddhist. I'm in the middle path. Some of these people are just uber low fat all the time. All they eat all day long is 1/4 of an avocado. And then you've got other raw foodists, raw vegans that you see these recipes, and this recipe calls for a cup of cashews. You've got an avocado in there, and you're probably eating 30 or 40% fat. Just try to keep that fat in the low to moderate range, anywhere from 10 to 20%. You know, some people, if they're healing something, might need to go lower fat, but we need fat. We need good fat for our hair, our brains, our skin, everything. And then one of the tenets of a lot of these people, like Dr. Greger and also Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn on reversing heart disease, a lot of these people that are just really, like I say, they're not necessarily focused on raw, but they have good information just on the practicality and like to follow a healthy version of a plant-based diet. Is what I'm trying to say, which includes no oil, no sugar, no salt, no oil. Oil's just concentrated fat. People get hurt, get their feelings hurt when you say that, and get angry, but it's concentrated fat, even the good oil. Which doesn't mean, like I say, I'm not a fanatical person. I use oil from time to time. I'm just saying it's not the best to use. Sugar. There's sugar in the fruit. It's a different type of sugar. We're talking about table sugar, processed sugar, and salt. Those three things lead out. And one thing too, just start with the basics and do research like that. You don't need to know every detail behind everything. I tell you, sometimes this doing this kind of stuff isn't great for my self-esteem, because about 75% of the questions I get are detailed, deep drilling. I ain't got a clue. I mean, you know, I'm not going to do like a research paper. I kind of stick to the basics of, like I say, a whole food plant-based diet. And, you know, I don't drill down that deep to where I can explain the molecular structure and how the molecular structure of this food interacts with this one. But stop focusing on every little detail. And like I say, do your own research. There's so much value. Like, let's say I'm sitting here and I read something online and I ask somebody a question in a Facebook group, in a video or whatever. I got to sit around and wait and hope somebody in the group that has decent sense will answer it, give me a good answer, but I got to wait around. All I got to do is type that into Google. All I got to do is type that into YouTube. And I've got a multitude of things I go through. And that's what I'll do when I'm doing my research. I'll type a search term into both of them, and I'll watch 2 or 3 videos, and I'll read 2 or 3 articles. I'll see what the different resources have in common. I'll see what the different resources disagree about, and I will make my I will make my decisions based on that. Don't undereat. That's another very, very, very basic. In the beginning, people tend to undereat, and understand it because, you know, people don't you're not used to that. You don't realize how you know, how many calories were in the food you were eating before. And also too, for most people, when they come to this lifestyle, they're taking in more fiber than they ever had in their life. So anyhow, that's just like I say, this is something I'm working on. That's like a kind of a first rough starting draft to the outline. I like to work through stuff sometimes kind of like a stand-up works through creating a new hour special. Like, I like to put little things out there, you know, do shorter videos on them, and then I'll expand on that. But anyhow, that stuff, that'll get you started right there. That'll get you started. Take that stuff, run with it, and yeah. Anyhow, hope you guys enjoyed this one today. If you like it, please give me a thumbs up. Maybe share this. Recommend it to somebody that's been interested in a raw food diet. And I'll see you guys about midweek. Peace.